Welcome back. All right, so we got hockey all day tomorrow. Basically, if you want to spend the day watching hockey, you can do that. And if you're in Europe, this is a good chance to see some teams before it's your bedtime. So we have three games starting at 10 a.m. Pacific, which is 1 p.m. Eastern. So I'll be up early watching hockey tomorrow, and there'll be three games on. And I don't mind that, honestly. I do like that there's 14 games, and they're kind of nicely spread out. It doesn't get that hectic tomorrow, comparatively speaking, with last night. Last night was far more hectic. So, at 1 o'clock Eastern, the 9-4-3 Philadelphia Flyers will be in against the 6-8-3 Buffalo Sabres. Both teams have won once against the other this year, so we've got six more games to go. Kevin Hayes, 7 goals, 9 assists for Philadelphia. Van Riemsdyk, 9 goals, 13 assists. Van Riemsdyk off to an amazing run so far this season. A lot of it's on the power play, but for Van Riemsdyk, it's been a very good season. Reinhart, 7 goals, 7 assists. He's having a very good run himself, and so we'll see if that continues. And Lazar, who, if Eichel doesn't play, and if the lines in practice today are to be believed, Lazar may be centering that first line. 4 goals and an assist. The other odd part is he has twice as many goals as Jack Eichel so far. What's really weird is that the team came out and said, Eichel's not hurt, and then a couple days later they go, he's all right, he's hurt. So which was it? Were you lying before? And now they're like, well, he's been hurt since camp. Well, wait, what is it? Was he? Because you guys said he was fine, and now he's... So, what is it? Anyways, at the same time as that starts, Washington starts in against New Jersey. The Capitals now 10-5-4. New Jersey 7-6-2. New Jersey will be looking for a win over a team that they need to win over, which is Washington. Washington won the only meeting between these teams so far this year. Jacob Vrana, 5 goals, 6 assists. We'll be looking to see whether or not he gets on the board tomorrow. And Kuznetsov, who has a low 2 goals so far in 11 games to go with 4 assists. So Kuznetsov, who's been noticeable when he's out there, but those goals and points just aren't where you want them to be. So we'll see if they come up tomorrow. Pavel Zacha, however, is off to an amazing run so far with New Jersey. I'm trying not to say start because we're kind of too far into the season to be saying start. It's been a really good run for Zacha so far, 5 goals, 7 assists. This is what they expected when they drafted him in the first round. And Nikita Gusev, 2 goals, 2 assists. He got an assist in the last game, so are we going to see him start to put up points? He was supposed to put up points, remember? And then he comes over and he had a half-decent second half of last season, and we're still waiting. All right, we'll see what happens. And then at the same time, we get a Canadian game going as well as Calgary's in against Ottawa. I'm wearing Calgary because this is my Matthew Tkachuk jersey. And it's Tkachuk versus Tkachuk. And they came out today and it was said, no, we'll never fight with each other. We wish people would quit asking us. But here's the question I ask you. So if these guys are going into that game going, well, we're not going to fight, does that change how they play the game? So for Calgary, they're 9-10-1. They need to change something because they're in trouble. And Ottawa, 7-14-1. If they can keep winning, especially if they can win a regulation against Calgary tomorrow, all of a sudden, they don't look that bad. All of a sudden, Ottawa realistically can catch and pass Vancouver. And then they can look ahead of them and say, you know what? Maybe we've got a shot at Calgary. And then maybe we can track down Montreal too. We've already proven we could beat Montreal. So maybe we don't need to rule out Ottawa just yet. So Matthew Tkachuk has 6 goals and 8 assists for Calgary. Sam Bennett, who will be watched every single game because of the whole drama about whether he wants to get traded or could get traded. He has a 3-goal and 1 assist season going so far. And on the Ottawa side, Brady Tkachuk has 8 goals and 7 assists. He's actually outpacing his brother so far this season. He's been on a hot streak. Connor Brown, 5 goals, 7 assists. I think Connor Brown's one of the more underrated players in the league. I think I can say that. Yeah. 2 hours later, Columbus will face Nashville. Interestingly enough, these teams have faced each other 4 times. This is time number 5. And Nashville's won 3 out of 4. Yeah. This is maybe the one team that Nashville has a really good record against. So I thought I'd focus on the defensemen here for the 8-8-5 Columbus Blue Jackets and the 8-11 Nashville Predators. The interesting thing, of course, being that Columbus has won 8 games and lost 13, if you include those overtime and shootout losses as losses, and Nashville 8-11. That's where the fact that you can get these games into overtime matters. And it mattered for Columbus last year, and it looks like it may matter this year as well. and Nashville not getting anything to overtime and not getting those extra points makes a huge difference. Seth Jones, the offense has picked up. He has a goal and 10 assists. I think he's playing better defensively than he was at the start of the season. Gavrikov, a goal and 5 assists. I think he's been pretty good for them as well. Yossi has picked up his play for Nashville, 2 goals and 9 assists, but a very un-Roman Yossi-like -6. So if we had the voting now for the Norris, I don't know that Yossi would get a lot of support right now. I don't know that he would. Ellis, 2 goals and 7 assists. He might actually get more votes right now for the Norris than Yossi, which shows just how deep the defense for Nashville has been for a long time. And then we skip 4 hours. So in between this game and this game, there's 4 hours. Therefore, I should be able to review these 4 before the other 10 games of the night take place. And then I should be able to get a news of the day video in there as well. So at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, we have 4 games starting. Again, it's not nearly as crazy as last night. The 10-7-1 Pittsburgh Penguins in against the 10-6-3 New York Islanders. Pittsburgh's won 3 out of 4 between those two so far. Crosby, 6 goals and 10 assists for him. Brian Rust, 6 goals and 9 assists. He'll be the one that you see crashing the net every 2 minutes. Anders Lee, 9 goals, 4 assists. Lee putting up a bunch of goals. Barzal, 7 goals and 10 assists. They're coming off of a game where they scored 7 against Boston, which is one more than the Rangers scored against Boston tonight. We'll see whether or not that carries over into the game against Pittsburgh. Maybe that offense is going to be a one-and-done thing. Maybe it's a sign of a trend. Then also at 7 Eastern, Dallas. So of the 3 teams that I officially root for, Dallas is the only one in action, and they're in Tampa. Not anticipating winning this one. Dallas is 6-5-4, and this season is kind of getting away from them. Whereas Tampa's 13-4-1. And that's the thing. Dallas has a lot of games over a very short period of time, and so this can really snowball quickly. This is the first meeting with Tampa, meaning they got 8 games against the Lightning before the end of the season. So the Stanley Cup final will be revisited tomorrow. Pavelski, 10 goals, 10 assists. Amazing run for Pavelski. Heiskanen is still looking for his first goal to go with 9 assists so far this year. Braden Point, 6 goals, 12 assists. Always prominent for Tampa. And Barclay Goodrow, 5 goals, 4 assists. Maybe a little bit more offense than expected to this point in the season. But, we'll see if that continues as well against Dallas. And then also at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, we've got Carolina and Florida. So Carolina coming off of a couple of rough losses against Tampa. Now they get to go in against Florida. Florida won the only matchup with Carolina earlier this year, and that was a very back and forth, exciting matchup between 2 teams that skate and know how to score. I expect that again. Carolina, 12-6-1. Florida, 13-4-2. So if Florida can win this one, especially in regulation, that does put the pressure on Carolina for sure, and it would put Florida into an excellent position to be recognized as probably the best team in that division. Svechnikov, 7 goals and 9 assists for Carolina. Martinook, 1 goal, 4 assists. I put him on the board because he has been all around the net, just not quite getting a goal, and it's coming. It's going to happen. Verhaeghe, 7 goals, 7 assists. He's cooled off over recent games, but he's still getting opportunities as well. And Vetrano, who is kind of hot and cold. I think he's been better lately. 5 goals, 2 assists for him so far this season. The last game starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific is for the rights to say we are the best team in Canada. And it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are 15-4-2, in against the Edmonton Oilers, who are 14-8. These teams have met 4 times already, and both teams have won twice. Hockey Night in Canada's got to be excited and nervous at the same time because we don't know if Matthews is going to play. 18 goals, 13 assists, 31 points. And the team has come out and said Matthews is fighting a hand issue of some sort. So the 18 goals in 20 games is remarkable if he's got a hand bothering him. Tavares, 6 goals and 11 assists. If Matthews is out, that's when Tavares has to jump forward. And he's scoring a little bit less than a point a game right now. That has to be considered a disappointment. He's got to get that picked up, especially if Matthews is out. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 9 goals, 10 assists for the Oilers. Fantastic run he's been on. McDavid, 14 goals, 26 assists. He's got 40 points in 22 games. Realistically, could get to 100 this year in a 58-game season. Realistically, could get there. And I know there will be people who say that's not that impressive because he's against the teams in Canada, but I still think that's an impressive total. So I'll go ahead and say if McDavid was playing against other teams, sure, he might score less, but he would likely still be the best scoring forward in the game. And then at 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, we've got Detroit in against Chicago. Detroit has not done well against Chicago. It's been close, but Chicago's won all 4 games. Detroit, though, 6-13-3. Their confidence should be up right now. Chicago, though, their confidence should be right through the roof. They're 11-6-4 right now. Chicago really enjoying this season. Bobby Ryan heating up a bit. 5 goals, 6 assists for him. Dylan Larkin also has 11 points. Think about that. Bobby Ryan has the same amount of points as Larkin. It's kind of a pleasant surprise in Ryan's case. It's a sign of disappointment for Larkin. 4 goals and 7 assists, just not getting it done. Is that the weight of the sea? I don't think so, but I'm sure we'll have that debate soon if that continues. DeBrincat, 9 goals, 11 assists. Just an amazing season, an amazing comeback for DeBrincat. And Suter with 6 goals, 5 assists, one of the many rookies for Chicago who are prominent on a team that was supposed to be left for dead. They're rebuilding. What are they doing? Every now and then I'll even see people in the comments going, well, what about Chicago's rebuild? What rebuild? You don't come out when a team's 11-6-4 and say, well, we're going to tear it down anyways. You don't do that. Anyways, we'll see if Chicago can keep this up. I'm going to think they can. And also at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, we'll see the rematch between the Kings and the Wild. Minnesota came out and made a statement tonight with that game. The Kings are 9-7-3. The Wild have now won 5 in a row. They're 11-6. Ridiculous record being put up by Minnesota. And they're now in the running for perhaps first in that division if things go right for them. They're 3-1 against LA as well. Kopitar, 4 goals, 17 assists for him so far for the Kings. Amazing season for him. Velarde, 5 goals, 4 assists. Keeps chipping in points. I think he's on a 5-game point streak right now. Parisi didn't get on the board tonight. Not for lack of trying. 3 goals, 5 assists for him so far. And Eriksson Ek, who's been chipping in the odd goal here and there. He had the 3rd goal in that game tonight. 6 goals, 4 assists for Eriksson Ek for the Minnesota Wild. And then, at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, we get a rematch between Colorado and Arizona. Colorado won that first matchup tonight. Arizona had that comeback. Arizona needs to start the game the way they're finishing them and just forget about getting behind by 3 goals altogether. For Colorado, they're now 10-6-1. Arizona's 9-8-3. And McKinnon, 4 goals, 15 assists. McKinnon is just not getting goals right now. Bowen Byram, 2 assists. Now, what's interesting is on the review, I talked about, I had it on the board, and then I totally skipped that part of the notes. Him getting in a fight with Kajula tonight, that to me is problematic. Byram, you don't want to see this kid out there fighting. I really don't want to see that because I don't want to see him get hurt fighting with a guy. Drake Kajula, not the smallest player, and again, I admire that he's got a little bit of sandpaper there, but I get worried when I see him dropping the gloves. On the Arizona side, Garland, 7 goals, 11 assists. He's fantastic around the net. And Schmaltz, 6 goals and 8 assists. He had a post tonight. We'll see if he can pot one tomorrow. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, we've got 2 games, and then one a half an hour after that. So at 7 o'clock Pacific, Winnipeg is at home against Montreal. You have to be a little bit frustrated if you're a Winnipeg fan because this game's going to be on, 2 hours later than it would have been under regular circumstances with fans in attendance. But again, we deal the hand we're dealt, or we deal with the hand that we're dealt. So Montreal now 9-6-4, or they've won 9 out of 19, right? And Winnipeg 12-6-1. And it's like I've been saying, when Montreal came out of that fantastic set of games against Vancouver, I said, they've proven they can beat Vancouver. We'll see how they do against everybody else. And it's been trouble. So we'll see whether or not Dominic Ducharme's changes to the team start to have a positive impact tomorrow. We know Jake Allen's starting. We'll see how that goes. Drouin, 2 goals and 11 assists. He'll be looking to impress the new coach, and Philippe Danault eventually has to get a goal. He has 8 assists so far this season. On the Winnipeg side, Kopp continues to be a story with 4 goals and 10 assists. His points production's been very good. And Wheeler, 6 goals, 14 assists. He's played 19 games, and he's got 20 points. And people will still complain about Wheeler getting too much ice time. But he's scoring more than a point a game. So you can cut the ice time back a little bit, sure, but not that much with a guy who's scoring that much. And then at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, the series that's closer than the record would tell you. So Vegas has won 3 out of 4 against Anaheim, but Anaheim tends to play Vegas pretty close this year, so we'll see if they can get a win for them tomorrow. 6-10-4 is the record for the Ducks. They just can't score goals. On the Vegas side, they're 11-4-1. They struggle to score goals against Anaheim. So Pacioretty, 8 goals and 5 assists so far this season. Alex Tuch continues to produce at a very good rate. 7 goals, 6 assists thus far this season. On the Anaheim side, Sam Steele, 2 goals, 4 assists. The points are trickling in here and there. Comtois continues to be the one guy who can hit the net regularly. Now he's got 8 goals and 5 assists for 13 points. Very good start to the season for Comtois. We'll see whether or not... I shouldn't have said start to the season, because really, when you're 20 games in, it's more than a start. So, yeah, 13 points for Comtois. He is their most dangerous player, which may be damning praise for the Ducks, in that you're looking for other players to be leading this team in scoring. Not to say anything negative about Comtois, but you're looking for more goals from other players. We'll see if Zegras gets on the board tonight. He's been close. He's played well. And then at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, St. Louis and San Jose get to know each other once again for the 5th time this year, and both teams have won 2 of the matchups. For the Blues, they're 10-8-2. Everybody's injured. For San Jose, they're 7-8-2. There's some injuries there as well. I don't know how many of them come back into the lineup. But, of course, there's a player that they're without, and they're going to be without likely for a full 2 weeks. We'll come to that. St. Louis, 9 goals and 7 assists for Braden Shen. He's not as hot as he was to start the season, scoring-wise, but he's still playing very well. Perron, 6 goals, 14 assists, highly reliable, just very reliable. He and Mark Scheifele might be 2 of the most reliable scorers in the league. You're going to see them on the board basically every game. On the San Jose side, Evander Kane, 5 goals and 8 assists. I think they want more goals out of Kane. And now, I don't think his penalty minutes are as high as normal. In the games I've been watching, it doesn't feel like he's been taking as many penalties recently, but again, they probably want more scoring. Couture, 10 goals, 6 assists. He's the leader. He's the guy. He's the one that'll play without any teeth if he's got to. And then, of course, Hurdle is the one that's been put on the COVID list, so they're going to have to learn to play without him. 6 goals, 5 assists for Hurdle. And he's been hot and cold, and now he's probably out of commission for a couple of weeks. So we'll see how that affects their standing against St. Louis tomorrow. So there you go, 14 games. Let me know your winners in the comment section below. I'm very glad I'm not doing the previews like I used to do them, because if I did, this video would be about 3 times as long, and that's insane. The way I used to do these, it was about 3 minutes per game, maybe a little bit over that for each game preview, and just no. This is part of the reason why I changed the format this year. So let me know your winners. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video and enjoy all the hockey tomorrow. I'll enjoy it, and we'll talk about it when it's done.